Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a man who believes that wrestling is real, but NASCAR is fake. It's Mr. Kris Barrows!
All right, Charlotte, thank you so much for that. It's good to be here in Charlotte. I notice everybody, you kind of come through a pretty rough neighborhood to get down here tonight, right? Not a big deal for me. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. I mean, we used to go fishing for dead lobsters. We had statues in the park that used to crap on the pigeons. I mean, even the girls in my neighborhood were tough. All of their body piercings came from switchblades. I actually knew a couple altar boys that used to rape the priest. A lot of drug use in the neighborhood too, of course. Most of the people I knew couldn't pass a drug test if they had the answer key. And of course, all that drug use, you're gonna end up in jail. You know, a lot of guys end up in jail. I remember talking to a buddy of mine, he had just gotten out, and he was telling me a story about some dude bet a man a carton of cigarettes that he could do 100 push-ups. So, he took him up on it. This poor guy's down there doing his push-ups. By the time he gets tired, bang, the guy jumps on him. Talk about doing some hard time. I bet the Surgeon General didn't think of that when he said that smoking could be hazardous to your health. Well, when I got old enough, I had to get out of that neighborhood, so I moved down south. When I got down south, I met the woman that would eventually become my wife. Let me tell you, when I met my wife, she was one hot piece of tail. Her butt was so sweet, Paula Dean tried to take a bite out of it. You could tell by looking at her that she had broken more hearts than cholesterol. Well, so we dated for a while, and she really made me work it. I didn't think she was ever going to give in, right? But eventually, you pump her full of enough Zinfandel, and you convince her that this is a good idea. So we're finally getting ready to do it for the first time. We're up in the bedroom, everything's nice, got the moon right. And she asked me, "Is there anything special I can do for you?" So I'm thinking about how long she made me wait. I want to make this memorable. So I whisper in her ear, "I bet you can't do 100 push-ups." Hey, stop, don't stop. So we dated for about 10 years before we decided to get married. And then after we got married, we had our son, the Fun Crusher. Now, his arrival brought on some rather big changes in my wife. All right. It all started out subtle enough, you know, a little pound here, a little pound there, nothing to worry about. But then her ass grew a double chin. Still, we could live with that. But then she started thinking black pants were a substitute for diet and exercise. There was no turning back from that. Now she's so big, when I try to boost her spirits, I can give myself a hernia. She got lost in the woods one time. The rescue dog tried to pick up her scent. He couldn't lift it. Yeah, at the time she fell down the stairs. Now naturally nobody laughed, but that didn't stop the foundation from cracking up. The only way I get to have sex with her anymore is to put a pair of binoculars on backwards. But, you know, nothing like that happens often. We don't really have sex that much anymore, because you know, her idea of doggy style is when I start sniffing around, she rolls over and plays dead. Well, it wasn't after we had our son. Sorry about that. Now I know why she doesn't like to have sex, because she doesn't like to get naked. I can't say I blame her. She doesn't like the way she looks. Looks like her boobs look like somebody filled a pair of pantyhose with sand. Oh, that's the line? Really? Good God. I mean, her boobs are so droopy, she was able to breastfeed my son from separate rooms. It looks like her nipples are looking for a contact lens. Now, people ask me if I'm a chubby chaser. I'm like, I wish. She doesn't run anywhere. But, you know, don't get me wrong, I love my wife, and it's not all as bad as it sounds. When she stands with her feet together, her calves make a real nice ass. Let them mull it over, think about it for a second, let them digest. Well, and, you know, she was nice enough to give me a son. You know, so I was talking to that little cramp the other day, And he points to my bald spot. I said, Daddy, where did you put the rest of your hair? I said, well, your mother's wearing it on her lip. Boy, tough crowd. A lot of hairy ladies in here, apparently. So, anyway, after my son was born, I decided to get a vasectomy. I mean, I'm not BP. I can't afford another spill. So while I'm in there getting my vasectomy, I'm looking around at all the posters and some of the things in there, and it dawns on me, hey, this guy's the man that's going to do my prostate check when the time comes. So I asked him, hey, Doc, when should I schedule that? He's like, well, it doesn't take that long. We can do it right now if you want. I figured, hey, how can this day get any worse, right? So he bends me over, starts rooting around my leather donut like he's trying to get the last Pringle out of the can. And he finishes up, takes his gloves off, and says, well, I didn't find anything for you to be concerned about. How does that make you feel? Like I just did 100 push-ups. It's been great. That's my time. My name is Kris Barrows. There you go.